Hi, very good morning, students. And today we are going to start the new content of this chapter that is called as covalent bond. And this covalent bond was proposed by Mr. G.N. Lewis. The definition of the covalent bond has been given in this form. The covalent bond, or it is nothing but the bond formed by the mutual sharing. Sharing means if there are two atoms, one will be giving one electron and the other atom will be giving the one electron. So the bond here, whatever that is formed, it is formed by the mutual sharing of electrons between two atoms. Two atoms will be, and each atom will contribute one electron, and that results in the formation of the covalent bond. And remember, students, only the unpaired electrons, means which are paid, will not involve in the covalent bond. Only unpaired electrons present in an atom will involve in bonding. So we can say that number of bonds formed will be equal to number of unpaired electrons. Okay, so number of covalent bonds will be equal to number of unpaired electrons, because only the unpaired electrons will be involved in the formation of the bonding. Suppose if we take phosphorus has 3 electrons in the ground state, means 3 unpaired electrons in the ground state. Okay, so it forms 3 bonds in the ground state, but whenever the phosphorus is heated, it forms 5 unpaired electrons in the excited state. Okay, so in the excited state it forms 5 bonds. Clear, students? Phosphorus in generally ground state. See, phosphorus belongs to which group? Fifth group. So in valence shell 5 electrons will be present. Among the 5, 2 electrons are paired, 3 electrons are single. So in ground state 3 electrons will involve in bonding, so it forms 3 bonds. In excited state 5 electrons, though the paired electrons will be getting into unpaired condition, then those also will be involved in the bond formation in the excited state. So in excited state phosphorus forms 5 bonds. Right? Single bond is formed by mutual sharing of one pair of electron. Okay? One pair of electrons means one electron from one atom, other electron from the other atom. That results in the formation of the single bonding between the two atoms. That results in the bonding. See, if you take chlorine, in valence shell 7 will be present. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here 1, 7. For this chlorine 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is 7. So this one electron will be involved. So and it is represented in this form. This bond indicates 2 electrons. Suppose nitrogen. So nitrogen will be having 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nitrogen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And nitrogen, here the formation of bond is 3 bonds are formed, and each bond involves 2 electrons. 2 electrons, 2 electrons, 2 electrons. See, in the same way carbon dioxide. So oxygen will be having 6 electrons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Carbon will be having 1, 2, 3, 4. And this oxygen will be having 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So here 4 electrons are there, 2 bonds. Here 4 electrons are there, 2 bonds. So CO2 structure will be like this. Okay. Double bond, whenever there are double bond and triple bond present between the atoms, those are called as the multiple bonds. One bond indicates 2 electrons. There are presence of multiple bonds also. Even though multiple bonds are present, each bond indicates only 2 electrons. When 2 bonds and 3 bonds are present, those are called as multiple bonds. Pure covalent bond, those are also called as non-polar covalent bond. Okay, non-polar means they will not form any charge. Okay, plus charge and minus charge are not formed. When they will not form plus charge and minus charge, when there is equal electronegativity among the atoms, then there will be no formation of the poles. So pure covalent bond or non-polar covalent bond is formed between H2, Cl2, O2, P4, S8, etc. Okay, among H2, 2 are Hs, 2 are Cls, 2 are O2s, 4 phosphorus are present, equally opposite directions. S8 also same. So among the same type of, among S8 molecules you can't find the polarity. So these are called as pure covalent bonds or non-polar covalent molecules. Okay, polar covalent bond means formation of plus and minus charge is formed between 2 dissimilar atoms. This is between automatically two different atoms. Why? Because there will be difference in the electronegativity. Okay, so dissimilar electronegative atoms. Example, HF, hydrogen fluoride, H will get positive charge, F will get minus charge. HCl, H2O, CO2, SO2. So these are the example, students. If you are having 2 dissimilar atoms, there will be formation of the charge. Those are called as the polar covalent molecules. So there are some molecules where you can find both polar, pure and polar covalent molecules. You can find both polar and non-polar. So both pure and polar covalent bonds are present in some molecules like H2O2. See, H2O2 structure will be like this: OH, OO linkage, OH. Among oxygen and oxygen, it doesn't have any polarity, so this is a pure bond or non-polar covalent bond. Among these two, there is a electronegativity difference, so this results in the formation of the polarity. This will get positive charge and this will get negative charge. And here also the same condition. You will be getting negative charge, here it is positive charge. So it is H2O2, right? Into H4. Same. Among N and N, you will be getting 2. So this is pure bond. These two are among nitrogen and hydrogen. This is polar covalent bond. Here, polar covalent bond. Here also polar covalent bond, polar covalent bond. So students, among H2, S2, this is S2, SH, SH. This is pure covalent bond. This is non-polar covalent bond. Okay. The unpaired electrons present in the valence shell of an atom involved in the covalent bond, those unpaired electrons are called lone pair of electrons or non-bonding electrons. So even though if there are any unpaired electrons in the last shell, okay, valence shell is also called as last shell, that are of an atom involved in the covalent bond. Okay, students, getting this or not? Okay, students, right, you are getting this. Right. The unpaired electrons present in the valence shell of an atom will involve generally in the formation of the covalent bond, and there are the unpaired electrons, and there are the paired electrons which does not involve in the bonding. Okay, those electrons are called lone pair of electrons. So the pair of electrons present in the valence shell that are not involving in bonding are called as lone pair of electrons or non-bonded pair of electrons. The lone pair of electrons in an atom will involve, see, whatever the electrons that are present in the valence shell, they will involve the formation of the coordinate covalent bond. Regarding this, we will be learning. So, the paired electrons in the valence shell of an atom will be involved in the formation of the coordinate covalent bond. Let us see the favorable factors for the formation of the covalent bond. Okay, students, regarding coordinate covalent bond, we have separate content. So, favorable factors for the formation of the covalent bond. So, cation should be very small size and more charge should be on the cation. So among Al plus 3, Mg plus 2, Na plus, what happens? Which is bigger in charge, Al plus 3. And the small size of the cation. So if you are having Na plus, K plus, Mg plus, which will be having the small size of the cation, Na plus. Right? Next one. See, cation is take from top to bottom, then you compare the size. Top to bottom, the size will be increased, right? Okay. If in terms of anion should be very large size and more charge should be on the anion. Suppose N minus 3, O minus 2, F minus. Which one will be having the more charge? N minus 3 is having the more charge. Okay, students. Note. High ionization potential will not have tendency to form cation. So, any atom which has high ionization potential, what is meant by high ionization potential? Means to remove an electron from the last shell, you should provide high amount of energy. Why? Why means there is a strong attraction between the valence electron as well as the nucleus. To remove that electron or to remove the attraction between the valence electron and the nucleus, you should provide high amount of energy. Such type of atoms, they do not prefer to form covalent bond. Okay? Why? Means they will withdraw the electrons. They will become charged particles. They will not involve in the formation of the covalent bond. So high ionization potential will not have tendency to form cation. So they do not prefer to form covalent bond. Example, chlorine. And comparable electronegativities. The two atoms should be having approximately equal electronegativity value. Okay. If they are present, they will involve in the formation of the covalent bond. If one is having the highest electronegativity and the other one is having the lowest one, they will not prefer to form covalent bond. Why? Means the highest one will withdraw the electrons so that it gets the minus charge. They will form ionic bonds. Okay. If both the atoms are having approximately equal amount of electronegativity, they will form the covalent bond. The atom common in all atoms is known as, see, you will be forming a bond, right? That atom is common. If you are having multiple bonds or many covalent bonds in a single molecule, in all the atoms or in all the covalent bonds, if any atom is common, then that atom is called as central atom. Okay? Right, students? See, let us go for the properties of the covalent bond. Generally, the covalent compounds exist as gases, liquids and solids. Example, iodine if you take, it is in solid form, bromine in liquid form, chlorine at gas form at room temperature. Okay, as covalent bonds are having strong bonds, not greater than not the strength of the covalent bond is greater than the ionic bond, but they have somewhat strong bond itself. So they have high melting and boiling point, except 3D network diamond, 3D network structures. Examples like diamond, silicon carbide, that is also called as carborundum, SiO2, silica, polyboron nitride, Bn taken n times. Okay, these will be having low melting point points. 3D will be having highest. For diamond it is more. For SiC, SiO2 these are exceptions. They will be having less. Solubility. So these will be having low melting and boiling point. Covalent molecules will be having melting and boiling points less than that of the ionic compounds and greater than that of the hydrogen bond as well as the van der Waals forces. But melting and boiling point when compared to ionic compound, these are having less. But high melting and boiling points can be seen in 3D network structures like diamond, silicon carbide, SiO2, boron nitride, polyboron nitride. So these will be 3D network structures will be having high melting and boiling point. These are exceptions. But generally it is having low melting and boiling point. If you go for the solubility, solubility means the capacity to dissolve in a solvent, right? So dissolves in non-polar solvents, as these are non-polar molecules. Generally, covalent compounds will be having non-polar substances will be dissolved in the non-polar solvents. These are more soluble in a solvent having high dielectric constant and less in solvent having less dielectric constant. What is meant by dielectric constant? The capacity of the solvent to break the bonds that are present in a given molecule. So if that solvent is having high amount of dielectric constant, if you add covalent compound for that will be broken into the species. Okay. But if the solvent is having less amount of dielectric constant, if you add covalent compound for that, it will not break into the species or respect to cations or anions or nothing to radicals, right? Dielectric constant. This has been explained here instead of this here. This is the measure of the capacity to break the covalent molecules into its ions. The covalent molecule should be broken into ions. So you require to provide some amount of energy. That amount of energy or that capacity to break the covalent bonds into ions, it is called as dielectric constant. Generally, polar solvents have high dielectric constant and non-polar solvents have low dielectric constant. See here we have talked above. It is more soluble in these compounds having the high dielectric constant. So polar compound, if you want to break it into ions, you should add it to the polar solvents because they will be having high dielectric constant, and non-polar solvents having the low dielectric constant. If non-polar also is having high dielectric constant, then they can break the covalent molecules into the fragments. High dielectric constant you can see in water, NH3, HF, CH3OH, ethyl alcohol and so on. So these are the polar covalent molecules. There should be a covalent molecule and there is polarity. They will break that molecule into the ions because they will be having high dielectric constant, low dielectric constant. When the molecule is the non-polar, like benzene, CH2, CCl4, the dipole moment is 0 and the molecule or entire whole is non-polar molecule. So if you want, you know that polar dissolves in polar, non-polar dissolves in non-polar. For a non-polar to dissolve highly, then you should take a polar solvent because that polar solvent will be having high dielectric constant. Non-polar will be having low dielectric constant here. So covalent compounds will not be easily dissolved in benzene, CH2, CCl4 because the dielectric constant is very low. Okay. Covalent compounds are not electrical conductors in molten and aqueous state. If you see the ionic compounds, even in the molten state as well as aqueous state, those are very good conductors. But in solid state, those are very bad conductors. But if you see covalent compounds, these are not very bad conductors in molten state as well as in aqueous state. And they do not have free electrons or ions. These will not be having any plus charge or minus charge. Means ions they will not be having. They will not form any ions. They do not contain any free electrons. Free electrons are not present because if there is free electron only, there will be conduction of the current. So these are very bad conductors. But there is an exception. That is graphite. Graphite is a covalent compound. It is having single electron. That is very good conductor of the electricity. Generally 99% covalent compounds are very bad conductors of electricity. And covalent compounds are directional in nature because they will be having one direction. Okay, so they exhibit what? Isomerism. These are called as space isomerism. We can see very nicely in organic chemistry. You will be having linkage isomerism. So something like chain isomerism, positional, functional, ring chain isomerism, tautomerism. All these type of, there are many types of isomerism. You can see these types of isomerisms in organic chemistry. That is due to the presence of the covalent bond. So covalent reactions, when you compare with the when you compare with the ionic reactions, covalent reactions are very slow, as these involve breaking and making of the bonds. One bond should be broken into the species, and again the other atom, they should combine together and they should form the bonds. So covalent reactions are very slow because they involve the breaking and making of the bonds. Aqueous solution of HCl, HBr, HI, HNO3 and H2SO4 are good electrical conductors because they contain free ions. Okay, whenever if you have, these are the polar solvents, right? Polar molecules or polar covalent molecules. For polar covalent molecules, if you add water, that is aqueous condition, they will break into ions. And whenever they break into ions, they will become the good conductors because they contain free ions. Okay, in aqueous condition, the two polar covalent molecules will give rise to formation of the ions, and those are very good conductors of the electricity. Okay students, that is for today. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye.